In this video, I'm going to be discussing everything I know about early life. I am obsessed with helping beginners, and I want to help people who feel lost. So if you feel lost and you have burning questions about why am I depressed? Why am I always considered a nice person? Why am I a people pleaser? Where is this coming from? Why does life not make sense? Have I been sold on a false premise? All of these things. If you're the type of person who asks these kind of questions, I want to give you everything that I understand using my own words, my own language, my own framework. So this is going to be kind of off the wall. It'll be new stuff, but it might be able to tie into things that you already know. And if you don't know all of this stuff, I highly encourage you to stick with the video so that you get an understanding of where you could possibly be missing, pieces that will make the world make so much more sense for you. I'm making this video because I am obsessed with helping beginners. I just have a passion for helping beginners. Even when I was younger and I was all about playing video games, I would make like 10, 20 new accounts to constantly help new players that were coming into whatever game I was playing. I would be that kind of person who would constantly I would love onboarding new beginner people who had no idea what was left, right, up, and down, that they were trying to still figure out the ropes, and I would help them out. So if you're the kind of person who, has trouble with, figuring out what they're supposed to do in life, please watch the video, okay? I wish I had a video like this half a lifetime ago. That would have made middle school easier. That would have made high school easier. All of these kind of things, right? So just to do some housekeeping, I am aware that you might not be able to read what is on the board depending on the quality of the video. I do apologize for that in advance. I'll try to make sure to say everything out loud so you don't miss anything, right? The other thing, this is the first time that I am explaining any of this. So if it's possible that it comes out a little wonky. I'm going to do my best to explain everything as best I can. But if you don't fully understand what I am saying, be sure to, this is a two-way street. This is not me just telling you how it is. That's how you got into this in the first place, actually. That's a big point. First lesson, okay? This is a two-way street. Don't just take my information as face value of, oh, I'm going to accept this. Oh, I'm not going to accept this. I'm a human, you're a human, right? And we're in this dance together. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. If you have anything you disagree with, feel free to tell me. If you want more clarification on anything, comment. Please, you can access me through so many channels, comments, DMs, social media pages, anything, right? So I'm here to help you as best as I can. And all I ask is that you give a listen, and hey, if I do a good job, I'm hoping that you will have a greater understanding of how life works according to the way that my brain is, okay? So, early in life, let's go back all the way. So when we're born, we're all infants. We unlock this stage right here. The paradigm or the gate of the infant. And this is super important. This is the crux of it all. If we didn't have this, a lot of us would not be here today. I won't explain what it is right now, but you understand if you're someone who is lost, if you don't understand how life works, you know that as you've gone through life, some things have not gone your way. If you've gone through college, have you ever wondered to yourself, like, man, why does this suck so much? Why am I so unhappy? What is it that I'm doing? Even though I know I'm going towards potentially a really good job, why is it not making me happy? If you are in a good job and it's not making you happy, and you ask yourself, why is this? I'm making good money. Why can't I just enjoy what I have? These are the kind of questions that we're going to answer, right? Why is it that we are unhappy with the situations that we're born in? It all starts with how we're taught as kids. There's tons of kids who, well, not tons maybe, but there's plenty of kids who are taught at an early age by great fathers, you know, oh, this is how life works. They have big families too, so they get a huge reference experience on what life is, what life's about, what you can do with your life, okay? And so even at an early age, they know instantly where they want to go, okay? Not everyone's born like that. Some of us, we just work with what we got. Sometimes what we got is just what our parents tell us, what our peers tell us, what our teachers tell us. And so for me, I was essentially an immigrant. I came to this country, I grew up here, and my parents told me what to do, okay? They told me I should put my head down, I should study, then I get good grades, then I get into a good college, then I get a good degree, get a good job, and then once I get a good job, I'll make good money. Once I get good money, I'll find a wife, have children, be happy, that kind of life, right? But as you're going through that kind of path, you end up realizing, wait a minute, I actually am not going to be able to make it all the way there, because the journey there, the getting to the good part is miserable, absolutely miserable. I'm not even going to be able to make it, much less I'm not even sure if the promise at the end of the rainbow, I'm not sure if the pot of gold is there, right? So have you been sold on a false premise? That is the first question. If you're unhappy with your life, if you feel lost, question what it is that you're doing. I don't know what you're up to right now, but I would absolutely question, if you're in college, who are you in college for? Why are you studying the thing that you're studying? Is it because you specifically chose it? Is it because it's something that you're passionate about? If not, then that's a clear indicator that you're not really doing what it is that you want to do. So of course you're lost. You're in a place where you don't even, you don't even care to be in the spot of the forest that you're in, so to speak. Okay? The spot of the woods, the spot of the meadows. Like, you want to be over on the north side, but you're on the south side, kind of thing. Okay? If you are doing the thing that you want to do, again, the college example, let's say you're in college and you're actually studying what you want to study, but you still feel unhappy. Ask yourself, is there other people trying to invade your space? Other people who are trying to get you to comply with their way of doing it? Even though it's something that you like, is there someone who is trying to get you to do what you want their way? Is there someone who is trying to, lord over some sort of, path, even within a path that you want to take? Okay? For a long time, I didn't understand what I was going through, but later I would find out it was basically depression, and I couldn't understand why I was depressed. But I knew that there were so many thoughts of, if you've been depressed before, you already know what kind of thoughts, right? And it really stemmed from the moment where I understood depression was actually the moment I started to come out of it, right? So when you're in the depression, it's going to be hard to understand this. It's going to be hard to process. But I want to give you the seed that if you're depressed, you might not be living the life that you actually want to be living. There's something in your life that needs to change. Unless you're actually biochemically depressed, because that's something different. That's like an actual biological malfunction. If it's a situational depression where you catch yourself living a life that you don't want to live, it's because something needs to change. Okay? So I want to ask, are you living the life that you want? And I know it's going to be a trap question, because the people who get trapped in this are the people who convince themselves that this is the life that I want. I remember in the depression, I was thinking, okay, so this is the life that I'm going to live. Here's how I'm going to live it. I'm going to work whatever job that I can, support my family. I'm going to give them all the money I have. And that's going to happen from the age 18 to 40. And at 40, I will cut it off. Things are going to stop at 40. Okay? That's literally what I told myself at like age 18, 19, 21. So in order for that to change, something in your life needs to change. And you know best what needs to change, whether that be someone in your life, the circumstance that you're in, the mindset that you have, the life path that you're taking, whatever it is, there's something in your life that needs to change. Because however you have it right now, it is making you literally depressed. So there might be a lot of kickback from people who say, oh, depression isn't something that can be solved. It's just something that can be managed, or something that it's not something that can be cured. And okay, sure. There's still something that needs to be changed, right? You can manage it a lot better than you're managing it right now. So let's try to manage it as best as we can. Yeah. So are you living the life that you want? The next thing that I would talk about is people pleasing and being nice. Okay. The other part of depression is that a lot of times people in depression are not living the life that they want. People who are, let's say you're supporting somebody else. Let's say you are working a job to earn money for somebody else. You're living your life for other people. And the reason why you're doing that is because you don't value yourself. That's where all of this stems from. Some point in your life, you were taught not to value yourself, and not valuing yourself, as I'll talk later, is for self-preservation purposes. The reason why I call this the gate of the infant is because the infant is biologically hardwired for self-preservation. I know as human babies, we're not the best at surviving on our own, but within the context of our family unit, the baby's job is to make sure that it grows up and it's still alive once, right now it's a little baby, helpless baby. So it needs all the help it can get from mom and dad. And the more it can make mom and dad not necessarily happy, but appeased, the better the chances of survival. So when you're young, what you're going to end up doing is you are going to people please, you're going to be nice, you're going to kowtow and appease your parents, basically do whatever they want to do. And what you're not going to do, see, this is the other side of the question. What you're not going to do is define who you are as a person, as an individual person. You're not going to define what you want out of life. You're not going to define, like, did I say who you are already? Like, you're not going to define who you are as an individual. Okay, I did say that. You're not going to share what you think. You're not going to define what you want out of life. Okay? So you lack self-identity. You lack, self-assertiveness. And you lack, leadership, basically. Self-leadership. So you're basically just the follower. And followers need a leader, so they'll just latch on to anything. This causes tons and tons and tons of problems, because any relationship that you're going to be in, you're going to be looking for a mother figure, a father figure, a boss, a leader. Because as a follower, as if you're carrying this mindset of an infant, even in the adult stages of your life, you don't yet have the capacity, you haven't allowed yourself to grow beyond just this gate of the infant to start thinking for yourself. Okay? That's where the people pleasing and being nice comes from. And I was the worst of them all. Like, I'm not saying this to belittle anybody. I'm not saying this to talk down on anybody. I remember specifically, I was 18. I was a full-on adult. and we were just about to graduate high school, me and an acquaintance and the acquaintance's two friends who were girls, we kind of went on like a 4-person like excursion to the local burrito place. And I remember one of the girls who I was with, I didn't even catch what happened, but she all of a sudden said, "Tim, you're so nice." And I didn't even know what to say. I just laughed. And it was only about like 30 minutes later when we were leaving that I realized, that wasn't necessarily a compliment, right? I was 18 and I still didn't know "you're nice" is not a compliment. But the reason why is because I did not value myself. The reason why I couldn't figure out, what did I think? What do I want? What do I want to say? All of these kind of things. And probably, the people I was talking to could probably sense that, is because I didn't value myself enough to define them. Okay? So I want to ask you to ask yourself, how much do you value yourself? If you're stuck in this loop where you're supporting other people and you're in a depression and you're on a path that you don't want to take, it's probably you don't value yourself very highly. But here's what happens when you don't value yourself highly. Okay? When you don't value yourself highly, you're not going to want to build skills. Okay? So if you value yourself highly, you're going to want to gain more, get more. If you don't value yourself highly, you're going to let others take those resources. Does that make sense? Like all the high all the people who think very highly of themselves, like let's just say narcissists and all those kind of people, they just want to take everything they can get, right? They'll take, and they'll just eat up as much resources as they can take. But that also means that they have they have high confidence. They'll have high skills. They'll have high resources. So they might, on the outside, look like they're competent. They're confident. They have all the money. They get to talk to all of the people that they want. And you, on the other hand, because you don't value yourself, you kind of just let it slide. It's like, oh, she's talking to that guy. I really like her, but I won't talk to her. Or you'll just be like, oh, he can take the promotion. It's like, I'm okay with this, entry level job. That's okay. I won't make any waves. Like, what does my opinion matter anyway? Do you get what I'm saying now? In order to make something more of yourself, you got to value yourself. Okay? So how much do you value yourself? And if you're people pleasing and being nice, it's probably not that much. So tying all of this together, okay? Understanding that you might have lived life on a false premise. I'm actually not sure if I talked about that. But, okay, let's talk about that just real quick, okay? Have you been sold on a false premise? Have you been told like, oh, life is all about you go to college and then you get a house and then you get a wife and then you have kids and you live happily ever after or something like that? What have you been told as a kid how life works? And then you grow up and you find out that's not at all how life works. And now you have to figure everything from scratch at 18. 0 to 18 was supposed to be the tutorial, and now you find out you just wasted the entire tutorial. The tutorial's for a game that doesn't even exist, and now you have to make up your own tutorial, figure it out on the live PvP server, right? That's kind of how it feels. So have you been sold on a false premise? Tying all that together for this point, finally, okay? In order to get past all of this muck, in order to get into the next stage of life. And if you look over here, I got this big diagram. I've only drawn the first 2 points, okay? And this is the introverted path. There is another path that you can take, but I don't know how that path connects, okay? I might be able to draw it out how I think it is, but that's a more extroverted path. I'm an introvert, so this is how it worked for me, okay? In order to go from being an infant, which everybody is at the start of life, right? In order to go from there to becoming the next step, which I call the fool, and I guess you could become the fool starting from anywhere like age 2 to, well, not maybe age 2. I mean, some kids, I'm sure age 2 or something like that. You might never get there, right? This is not about age, but in order to get there, you need to tie all of this together and solve it. How do we solve it? We take on the role of the fool. And the role of the fool, as opposed to the role of the infant, is going and delving into adventure where you don't even know what's over there. Okay? That's the role of the fool. It's like a tarot card thing. I don't remember where I got it, but imagine, like, who is a fool but someone who goes into danger without understanding the danger? And sometimes that is what it takes, okay? How this looks like in real life is telling your mom, hey, Mom, I know you basically forced me to go to college. I know you wanted me to go to college, but I dropped out because you know, and we all know, that my real passion in life was always music. And I don't want to do, computer science, Mom. So I don't even know if I'm going to make it as an artist, but I'm going to try anyway because it's my life. Okay? That is the fool. And so even though it sounds really foolish and some people might get, might end up in a worse position technically by going this path, it's actually better for you as a person to undergo this transformation. Because the infant is somebody who lets other people dictate everything that they do in life. Okay? And the fool is somebody who doesn't do that. They don't let other people dictate their life at the risk of them choosing a life that might have been better if other people had dictated it for them. Okay? You can make tons of relationship connections to what I just said. But how much better would life be if you lived it the way that you want it? Okay? In order to make this jump, I want to make it clear, you need to value yourself. Because unless you think to yourself, I have something worth taking a risk for within me. I can be better. I have something in my life that is, I'm being called to a higher height. I'm supposed to be greater than where I am right now. If you have these thoughts, then you have what it takes to take this leap. But if you don't value yourself, and again, I used to not value myself at all. So taking this leap I took it in my 20s. I did it late. Okay. I mean, I shouldn't say that because some of you guys take it in like your 30s or 40s or 50s, right? It really just depends on the person. It has nothing to do with age. It just depends on where you are mentally in your life. Okay. But in order to take this, the big thing is you got to value yourself. You got to start valuing yourself. You got to start listening to the inner workings of your mind. You got to listen to the voice that's inside of you rather than depending on the voice of your parents, your teachers, your people who kind of mean the best for you, but they want the best for you in a safe way. They not a safe way like the store, but yeah, okay. Like they want the safe version of you. They want you to not die. They want you to not starve. But you're built for more. You built for more, right? So I want you all to be able to take this, because this is the most magical step I've ever taken in my life. Okay? Once I took this step, my entire life changed. Okay? This, and this. I've probably lived 5 times of my life in infant compared to the fool. But this feels twice as long. I feel like I've lived twice the life that I lived here, even though I've spent a fifth of the time here compared to here. Okay? I've spent a fifth of the time being a fool, living my own life. Yet I've lived double the life that I lived, living 5 times as long as a little infant boy, nice guy, people pleaser, depressed. Okay? So I want you to be able to take that leap. In order to take that leap, we need to tie this all together. I know I keep like jumping into the point, trying to make it, and then I like swerve away. I get it. I get it. That's kind of how I talk. But you gotta fix all of these, all 3 of these. Have you been sold on a false premise? Do you understand how the world works? If you've been sold on a false premise, then you need to take learner's mindset very seriously again. Okay? In order to take this jump as a fool, you need to just reintegrate yourself. Like, understand that you're in the tutorial, even though you just got through the tutorial. Even though you just got through 0 years to 18 years, and now you're an adult, you got to go through the tutorial again. It's okay. Just understand that and have the learner's mindset. Okay? The second thing that you're going to need past the learner's mindset is you need to take control of your life. You need to take responsibility for your life. If you're depressed, something in your life needs to change, and no one is going to change it for you. Nobody's going to change it for you. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can change this. I was stuck in the infant for many, many years because I waited for somebody to save me. I waited so many years. I waited years and 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 years. I waited so freaking long for someone to save me, and no one did. And I finally realized I could wait until I was 80 and nobody was going to save me. Nobody. So if you are depressed, understand that it might not be your fault that you're depressed, but the only person who's going to change that situation is you. And something needs to change. Okay? So we need more strength. We need more power. Okay? The reason why you feel you might feel unable to change the circumstances, and that sucks, but the reason why you aren't able to change the circumstances is because you don't have the skills. You don't have the network. You don't have and all of this takes time, but you're going to have to start taking on skills. Something needs to change. Okay? So we've covered false premise. We need to have a learner's mindset, understand that we need to take responsibility. The third thing is we need to value ourselves. And in order to, the reason why it's so important to value ourselves is we can be depressed and we can want something to change, but until we value ourselves, we're not going to go out there and start taking in the resources that we need to actually enact that change. Okay? We need to start taking in resources and understand that we are valuable enough as a human engine to take in resources and actually output more than we took in. Okay? When you don't value yourself, you have a subconscious understanding that you are just a taker. You're a take. Everything that you do is a little bit of a take. So you try to minimize as much as you take. It's like, oh, I'll just take this minimum wage job. I'll just take this little amount. I'll just take this amount of opinion. I'll just have the most vanilla milk toast opinions, and I'll just take as little as I can. I'll make myself as small as I can, right? That's what it looks like. But in order to gain the skills, in order to become that powerful person that you know you can be, you got to start valuing yourself so you can take in resources, use those resources to start building up skills, okay? I didn't spend a single, I hardly spent any money on myself until I understood this concept. And now I spend plenty of money on training, courses, mentorship, books, all of this stuff to make myself better, right? I actually watch YouTube videos that I think that, teach me things kind of like this one. Like, if you're watching this far into the video with my presentation skills, it's because you are committed. You know you want more. You value yourself on some level. So you take all these, right? And once you have that, you will be able to start making a change, because not only will you have a better understanding of how the landscape looks, how real world, how the real world actually moves, but you're going to be able to have the toughness to withstand that kind of change, because change is tough, right? And you're going to be able to take in the resources and do the things necessary in order to enact this transformation, okay? So I really hope that you're going to be able to do all of that. Let me just talk about more. Let me talk more about what the gate of the infant is, okay? So I have this idea. I have a bunch of names for it. I'll just call it the roots to the tree of power. So there's a lot of cells here, right? Okay, so a lot of gates. And there's a lot of ways that you can have power. One of the ways that we have power, even as children, like, think about it. Kids, like little babies, they can have power over their mom and dad by manipulating them in certain ways. Like, they'll cry, they'll poop their diaper, they'll laugh, and they have all of these little tiny ways, and they're not even malicious. They're just natural, right? But they'll have these ways where they have power over people, but it's more of like a manipulative kind of way. The gate of the infant is power of self-preservation. They'll manipulate everything that they know to manipulate around them, like psychological manipulations. They'll manipulate like who they are, everything that they can possibly do in order to preserve themselves. Okay, so everybody starts right here. And you might even be like 18, 25, 30, 35, 40. You might still only be here. And this is a really powerful place to be, because you don't have to take responsibility. Remember what I said, depression and all of that kind of stuff. Like, something in your life needs to change, and you need to take responsibility, or else no one's going to change it for you, right? So as soon as you move out of gate of the infant, everything else over here it requires responsibility. So there's a very, very good reason why people stay stuck right here their entire lives. It's because if you're stuck here at the gate of the infant, you never have to take responsibility. You never have to take accountability for your actions, for the things that you do. But it costs everything, okay? You self-preserve yourself. You live a life that other people want to live. You think the things that other people want you to think. You do the things and say the things that other people tell you to say and do. But that cost of that is who you are. You don't get a say in who you are. You don't get a say in what you think, and you don't get a say in how you want to live. Okay? So let me explain. Like, self-identity is paramount. If you can't self-identify yourself, then you're going to have a hard time really making a name for yourself in the world, because everybody is going to try to tear you down the moment you try to do anything good for yourself beyond the status quo. Okay? So if you're going to get to any level of success, you need to know who you are. And, there was this whole thing in previous generations about building up kids' self-esteem. And I'm not about that. I don't really care about kids' self-esteem. I care about kids' self-identity. Okay? And I'm not talking about the stuff that we're talking about in this modern day and age with, like, you know, whatever, but who they are, okay? I don't care what they think about themselves, whether, oh, like, I feel good about myself. I feel like, sure. But I want them to have a very strong understanding of who they are. And, oh man, people are going to twist my words so bad. But if they can define who they are from their own actions, right? Self-identity, meaning that they didn't get their identity from their mom. They didn't get their identity from something their dad said. They didn't get their identity from something their peers have like bullied them into thinking. Self-identity, I think, is the most important, because what I define as self-identity is the things that they do and the things that they've proven to themselves that they are. That is what self-identity is. In order to build self-identity, you need to let them do their own things. You need to let them say the things that they think, right? Let them play with ideas, play with actions, and once they've done all of that, they will have formed an identity. Hey, this is who I am. This is what I like. This is what I want to do. Okay? It's everything that comes down here. In order to preserve yourself as a baby, you sacrifice building this up. You sacrifice finding out who you really are, and it takes active, conscious effort. That's why this path could take your entire life. There are some people who do this very quickly, and some people who never get there. But in order to have any level of success, you need to start by eliminating the power of the ultimate self-preservation, which is not taking responsibility. And you need to start taking responsibility for who you are. Identify yourself. Figure out what you like. Figure out what you want. Figure out what the way you'd like to say things, the way you'd like to express yourself. And I mean, even in this video, I'm still figuring this part out. This connection is not fully formed even for someone like me, okay? But that is the beauty of this whole journey, okay? So let me know if you have any questions so far. I've covered most of the curriculum. I risk repeating tons of stuff if I keep going any further. I've repeated a bunch of stuff already. But that's what I understand about kids and how I understand like the way that we grow up, the way that we get into adult life, still not understanding how life works. This is how I understand how we get into depression, how we're constantly like people pleasing, kowtowing to other people, being like mindless followers. This is how I understand it. Okay. Let me know which part of this has resonated with you the most. Taking on a learner's mindset by eliminating the false promises that you've been told by your teachers and parents and all that stuff. If it's that, or whether depression is simply a sign that something needs to change in your life, and taking responsibility, all that kind of stuff. Whether people pleasing and being nice is how much you value yourself, how much you're willing to take in because you know you're going to be able to give it back with the output of your personal, like, human engine. Whether the gate of the infant is the power to self-preserve even as a little baby, but it comes at the cost of everything that you are, who you are, what you think, what you say, what you want to do with your life. That becomes dictated by anybody other than you, whether that be your girlfriend, your boss, your parents, your teachers, your peers. Okay. Peer pressure falls into here. Mama's boy, and all the things where you get like girlfriends who are like, they get the ick from their boyfriend because they can't even decide like what they want to eat for dinner. It all stems from here. Okay. So I want to talk about the bonus now. Thank you for listening to the video. I was intending it for it to be about this long, about 40 minutes. So if you enjoyed this, let's just call it Rediscovered Wisdom Podcast, wherever you're listening to it from, let me know what you guys think of it. But I want to talk about this bonus topic. Have you ever talked to somebody and you're kind of like not comfortable, you're not very outgoing, you're not very expressive, and someone comes up to you, whether it be a girl or a guy, and they just tell you, "Oh, just be yourself, bro. Just be yourself." And you're like, "I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. Like, what do you mean just be yourself? Like, if I was myself, you would like me probably even less. That's why I'm putting the mask on. Like, that's why I'm being fake. Because if I was just myself, you wouldn't like me." Right? Have you ever had that thought? Like, let me know what your rendition of that thought is when someone told you in your life, "Just be yourself, bro." I was so messed up by this for a long time because I could not understand it. And it was not until I figured out this whole diagram that I understood finally what just be yourself means. And it's actually positive. It's actually positive. Like, whoever, if you remember who told you this way back in the day, or maybe it was like yesterday, who knows, at some point, whoever told you this, if you can remember it, I would look back and thank them. Because here's what they're actually saying. Here's what they're actually saying versus what you think of yourself. You intuitively understand that you are still here. You are the paradigm of the infant. You have no definition. You don't know what you think. You don't know what to say. You are just a little nothing. You're a ditto Pokemon who will just be anything for anybody as long as it makes them not completely pissed off. Okay? Just be yourself is a subtle understanding, a subtle empathetic understanding that you are more than this. You're more than this. And you've confined yourself to just being right here in the gate of the infant. Your roots to your tree of power go beyond this one root. Okay? You have the root of the gate of the fool. You have this one and that one and that one and another one. Okay? I don't know if there's like 6 or 7. But anyway, okay? Let's say a girl told you that. She intuitively knows that you are cooler than this, bro. You are way cooler than this. You could be level 2 cool, level 3 cool, level 4, 5, 6, 7 cool. You could be so much cooler, and she knows. She knows. So she's saying just be yourself because all of this is you. All of this is you. But you've confined yourself right here because you haven't built yourself up. But she knows that you're able to be all this. You're able to unlock all of this. She knows. He knows. Just be yourself, right? It's like in a video game where you've level capped yourself because you didn't do like the job upgrade. And so you're the beginner class. You're stuck at level 10 because you didn't do the job upgrade. But everybody in like the RPG or whatever has a max level of 100. That's kind of what it's like. Everybody knows that everybody's max level is 100, but somehow you're still stuck right here at level 10 or 15 or whatever. So next time someone tells you, just be yourself, understand that they know how much cooler you could be. They know, they don't know what that would look like, but they know it's not just this. They know you're hiding all of this in here of how much cooler you actually are. So just understand that. And if you believe it, I ask that you take that in, you value yourself to be this entire whole and not just who you are right now. Okay? Just be yourself doesn't mean be who you are right now. It means be everything that you could be. So that's what I have for you today. Let me know what you guys think. I really appreciate if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Gosh, like my delivery partway through was like, I don't know. You can be the judge of that. I won't judge myself, I guess. But I really appreciate you spending 45 minutes with me, just allowing me to share my thoughts with you. I really hope that this has been a big help to you. If it is, if you want to share it with somebody who you think it would help, that would be really cool. Let me know how it's been, and I will see you guys on the next one. Next one, I will probably, well, I'll figure it out. We'll talk about more later and soon. Peace.